No, unfortunately, there are no spooky ghosts in Fortnite Creative. But there are spooky mechanics. Hey everyone, this is Syntax, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the classic haunted door, or the self-opening and closing door in Fortnite Creative. Let's get into it. First thing you want to do is head to devices, go down and grab yourself a lock device. Now go ahead and place this anywhere near your door, above it, below it, anywhere, as long as it's next to a door. In our settings, you want to make sure the initial door position is closed, turn visibility off, color doesn't matter, and starts lock set to no, and have this door open and close when receiving on 2 different channels. So for me, I have it opening when receiving from 2 and closing when receiving from 3. Head back into devices and go all the way down to sequencers and place one of those down. Now, depending on how fast you want your door to open and close, you're going to have different settings. So I have my tempo on 60 and the length normal, but if you want it to be slower, you can obviously increase the length or slow down the tempo. But basically the only thing you need to have for this sequencer is an activation channel. It says start sequence when receiving from 1, so my activating channel is channel 1. Next thing you want to do is set up 2 triggers that are evenly spaced out in the sequencer with the corresponding channels that you have opening and closing your door on the lock device. So in this case it is on channels 2 and 3. So when the sequencer goes, it'll hit channel 2, open it, hit channel 2, close it, hit channel 2, open it, hit channel 2, close it. You know what I mean? For the settings, make sure you only have trigger by sequencers on. I have them chime can trigger infinite so they can open and close the door infinitely. Turn off the sound and visual effects but keep it visible in game so the sequencer can actually find it. And like I said, when triggered, transmit on channel 2 so they're both opening and closing the door. The last thing you're going to need is an activation trigger. So basically this can be anything from a trigger to a button to a perception trigger, just something to send a signal to the same channel that our sequencer is hooked up on that tells it to start looping. For me, I have this trigger set in this doorway here, so when you run over it, it sends a signal to channel 1, which is what the sequencer is on, which will then start the sequence of opening and closing the door. For the settings, make sure trigger by player is turned on and everything else is turned off. Have times can trigger 1 so that you're not triggering this multiple times. Turn everything, make both of these disabled and turn visibility in game set to no, and like I said, link up when triggered transmit on to the same channel that the sequencer is starting on. If you've done all that correctly, it should look something like this. Now obviously in an actual map you want to hide your sequencer a little better than I did because you can see mine clear as day. Remember, sequencers can be placed anywhere in the map and they'll still send signals to those triggers, so yeah, just hide it a little bit better. Anyway, if you remember, our trigger is sitting right in there. It's invisible in game so we can't see it, but when I walk in the door I will activate that trigger and the door will then begin to close and open like so. Anyway guys, that is how you pull off the classic haunted door trick. I know there's probably a lot of videos on this. When the sequencer first came out, this is one of the first things people decided they could do with it. But for people that didn't know about those videos, I hope this video helped you out. And yeah, this has been Syntax. Later.